Hey, it's Felice, totally awake, and I'm back with another video. If you're new, then welcome. Now, today I want to talk about the 5 men that were arrested in Pennsylvania. Now, they were Jehovah's Witnesses and they were arrested for CSA. Go ahead and take a look at this news clip, and then I'll come back with my commentary.
5 men with ties to one religious organization are accused of sexually abusing children. Thanks for joining us for Fox 43 News. I'm Marshall Keeley. All 5 are members of the Jehovah's Witnesses religion, which the Pennsylvania Attorney General says gave them access to their victims. Fox 43's Harry Lee joins us now to explain how the charges filed against them today fit into a larger investigation of alleged child abuse.
Well, back in May, we broke the story that a grand jury convened by the Attorney General's office is working on a special report regarding an alleged cover-up of widespread child abuse within the Jehovah's Witnesses organization. While the Attorney General's office still won't confirm that report, today's charges are the furthest step we've seen yet to link individual arrests with the religious organization itself. Attorney General Michelle Henry announced the charges against 5 men who allegedly assaulted children in Pennsylvania. While the 5 cases stem from unrelated incidents, Henry says they do have 2 things in common.
All 5 men had the trust of the victims and their families. And all 5 men were members of the Jehovah Witness congregation, and many of them gained access to their victims through this organization.
Since October of last year, the total number of Jehovah's Witnesses charged for child abuse now rises to 14. As we first reported in May, the arrests come out of a larger investigation that will result in a grand jury special report. Henry suggested the Jehovah's Witnesses organization created an environment for the abuse to occur.
One of the key pieces to child abuse is that the offenders have to have access to their victims. They have to have a way in order to get to them and groom them.
Wow. That's something, isn't it? Now, that's a total of 14 men, okay? Just in Pennsylvania alone that has been charged with CSA since October, okay? Pennsylvania cracking down. I mean, but just imagine how many others are seemingly getting away with things right now. I'm gonna need everybody else to jump on board. These other states, everywhere. We need to really crack down on these pedos and get them where they belong, in jail, under the jail. Okay, so they're not able to hurt anybody else. Okay, so that we can see some type of justice for the people that has already been hurt and their lives have been damaged. Okay, thank you to all of the victims for speaking out and making this happen. You are so courageous and we so appreciate you. She said something interesting. She said that the Jehovah's Witnesses um you know are known to create an environment where this can fester. Okay, the child has to be groomed, right? And it's so easy in the Jehovah's Witness religion to gain that trust of parents. Everybody is so trusting. Okay. I grew up in the organization, 3rd generation. Everybody is so trusting. You know, it's not a place where you go when I was growing up and you felt the need to have to take your purse with you to the bathroom. No one's going to steal anything. You can leave your purse right there. Nobody's going to not going to do anything to your purse because we're all Jehovah's Witnesses and we all love Jehovah and we know that stealing is wrong. So they'll just leave their purses and go to the bathroom or do whatever, leave food, drink. Nobody's going to do anything to it because we're all Jehovah's Witnesses. Oh, nobody's going to hurt my kid because we're all Jehovah's Witnesses. We all love Jehovah. And some of the smart ones may have a little bit of common sense to know that, okay, you can't be that trusting of everybody. You got to, you can't put nothing past nobody. You have to have that type of mentality for survival in this world, for just not to be too shocked when things happen. So nobody's thinking that. No, everybody's thinking that everybody is good. So much so, um, and I'll leave a link, to the clip where the reporter goes into more detail about each case. But I did just write down a few points. You know, we got David Beluza. He was 35 when the abuse started, and his victim was 4 years old. And the parents moved him in, and they went out of town and left the child with him. The child went down in the basement, and that's when it began from there. You know, they'll do that. They'll take somebody in just because they're a Jehovah's Witness. They don't have to know you very well, but just off the strength that you're a Jehovah's Witness, you could be, just coming into the religion or whatever. But just because you say, oh yeah, I believe in your God and I believe in this doctrine and what the governing nobodies have to say, okay, and I'm gonna follow this with you guys, then that's all you need to move into somebody's house. They'll feel it in their heart to open their homes up to somebody that may be homeless or whatever, and give them some place to stay, not knowing that they're putting their child in jeopardy because they don't know what this person is capable of. All they see is they're a servant of Jehovah, and they want to help this good servant of Jehovah because then they think they're going to get blessings for helping one of Jehovah's servants, okay? So, it's that level of trust where you would let a grown man that you don't hardly know, just off the strength that they're Jehovah's Witness, move in with you and your minor children, and then things like this happen, because it's easy to build trust within that Jehovah's Witness community. All they want to know is that you believe in their God, and as long as you appear to be being a good Jehovah's Witness, everything is fine. I'm not going to go into all of these cases, but it's just horrific. It's just horrific. These victims were repeatedly assaulted, many of them, and these men, they were just able to get away with it because of the Jehovah's Witnesses two-witness rule, where they need two witnesses, okay, before they even consider reporting the crime to the police. And then on top of that, they tell them not to listen to the news. They get, basically called silly from the platform if they read the newspaper or if they're listening to what's in the news. Do you listen to what's in the news? Is what David Swain, one of the governing nobody members, once said. And I can play the clip right here.
Some people believe everything they read in the newspaper or see on TV. Do you? Should you? Well, if it's in the newspaper, it must be true, right? Not necessarily. Remember this. Reporters have a deadline to meet, and a reporter may not have the time or the inclination to check the facts. Or the reporter may have written a balanced article, but then the editor changes it. Maybe the editor doesn't like Jehovah's Witnesses, or he's been misinformed about us.
See, that's what's in the mind of Jehovah's Witnesses. So everything that they're hearing, even though it's coming from different news stations or whatever, they're not even believing that this is real. That there are victims out there. Not only just the victims, from the cases that we know about in Pennsylvania, but there's way more victims than that, okay? There's a whole database. There's a whole database full of pedos, okay? Victims. Over 1,000 pedos. And none of them are reported to the police in Australia. So this is a huge problem. And I'm so glad that these guys were arrested. I hope that, more and more are brought down and taken to jail where they belong, taken to prison. I could go on and on about this, but just let me know what you think down in the comments down below about all of this, and perhaps I'll try to talk some more about this later. Okay, it's Felice, Totally Awake. Be sure to like this video. Again, leave me a comment down below, and I'll be back with another one. Bye.
16, because obviously Christ Jesus established the Christian arrangement. And notice what he said, Matthew 18 and verse 16. He says, but if he does not listen, take along with you one or two more, so that on the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses, every matter may be established. So Christ Jesus establishes the fact that there has to be 2 witnesses. Now, it doesn't mean that if there's only one witness, that there's no consequences. There might be, depending upon the situation. But the scriptures are very clear. Before a judicial committee can be convened, there has to be a confession or 2 witnesses. So we will never change our scriptural position on that subject.
As an example, think about the apostate-driven lies and dishonesties that Jehovah's organization is permissive toward pedophiles. I mean, that is ridiculous, isn't it? If anybody takes action against someone who would threaten our young ones and takes action to protect our young ones, it's Jehovah's organization. We reject outright such lies.